Today I'm going to be sharing with you 5 tips you can use to win most Apex Legends fights for average players. So tip number 1 is to always use your abilities. So Apex Legends has, unlike any other battle royale, a set of abilities. So you have to know how to use these abilities and when to use them, especially the ultimate. Another really important thing about your abilities is to always have an average idea of the cooldown. Also know your role and stick to it. So as an example for this, I'm gonna use Wraith since she's my main. Wraith has 3 abilities, right? You have your ability, your passive ability, and then your ult. So for Wraith, it's called Into the Void. Well, she can't take damage and they can only see kind of like a trail that she leaves behind. You also go a little bit faster. Wraith is an assault character, right? There are 4 main different type of characters on Apex. There's assault, tank, support, and recon. Each role has a different thing that is affected by. So for example, assault characters have a thinner frame, so they're harder to hit, but they also take more damage. Wraith's play type is going to be basically really aggressive, unlike tank characters, which are not as fast or as agile and can get killed easier if they're just rushing to people. So obviously Wraith has a completely different playstyle than Caustic. Make sure you pick a character that fits your playing style. Tip number 2 is to have appropriate loot. Have good guns or guns that you are good at. So for me it would be R301 or Flatline. I could obviously pick whatever gun, and there are guns that I enjoy playing with more, but if you are better with a gun than another, try to always pick that one. You have to have enough ammo, but not extreme amounts. Another thing is also with heals. Have a good amount of heals, but not an extreme amount of heals. Sometimes I see people go 20 shield cells, 5 shield batteries. You're never gonna use all of those heals, and then this takes away place in your inventory for other things. Tip number 3 would be to know which fights to pick. Don't always avoid fights. You engage fights not to get kills, but to get loot. The purpose of the game is to win it, and in order to win it, you have to have better loot and make better decisions. If you engage every single fight, sure, do that if you're good enough to win every single fight. But if you know you can't, and if you know you're not gonna win a fight, don't take it, unless you need the loot. Third partying is the best fights you can take. When you third party, people are already low on health most of the time, or they might be resting, and then just by hitting them a couple of times, they will die and you will have all the loot for yourself. Tip number 4 is to stick to your teammates. Apex is a team game, that's where you don't see any solos. With your teammates, you have a better chance of winning. Different abilities also are better used as a team or ultimates. Different passive abilities also are better used with teams. If you stick to your teammates, your chances of winning are way higher. Communicate with your team so you know which fights to pick. Apex has one of the best communication wheels that I've ever seen in a game. Then the last tip is to move. Moving sounds kind of like obvious. You have to move in order to win, this zone is coming in and stuff like that, but Apex has fast gameplay. It's one of the fastest gameplays I've ever played before. Never stay in one spot for too long, especially after a fight. You don't want to be third party, you want a third party. If you pick a fight before a third party happens and you stay there for too long, chances are you're gonna get third party. You also have to start trying new things, such as sliding, and learning new movement techniques, such as wall jumping, so that people have a harder time hitting you, or so that you can get to places most people can't usually get to. So these are the tips that I have. And this is basically how I got from having like a 0.95 KD to having a 1.0 KD in like 2 weeks. But then at the end of the day, it's not really about kills, because if like you win every match, at the end, your KD is going to start going higher and higher and higher since you don't lose any, if that makes sense. So yeah, this is how I basically started winning most of the matches I play when I'm solo queuing. It's obviously gonna be harder than that, than just do these things and then you're immediately gonna win. It takes experience and it takes time to start learning these techniques, especially the movement ones, and to start getting used to playing this way. Since now season 6 has changed a lot of things with the Evo shields, and I feel like the gameplay is so much faster and you die so much faster as well. So you have to have all of this new different techniques and decision making that didn't really have to happen before. So thank you so much for watching if you're still here, and make sure you subscribe and like. I'm going to be uploading every Sunday.